Brazzaville may be an American band, but it has fans all over the world. With 12 albums to date, the band's taken inspiration from lots of cities, including Barcelona, London and LA. But it also has a special relationship with Istanbul, having released an album here in 2009, which included tracks called Bosphorus and Taxum. Our Miranda Atty went backstage to speak to the band's founder and former Beck saxophonist, David Brown.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3. It smacked around one last time Sunday. She called a friend, said let's run.
You know, I wasn't a very good sax player. I was okay. I did some things nicely. I had a nice tone and I played ballads nicely, but I was never going to be like a great saxophone player. And understanding that was one of the greatest things that ever happened in my life. I thought, wow, maybe that's okay. Maybe I have another path. And I decided to try to start a band and write lyrics and sing. And I wasn't one of those people who just like flies up onto stage the first time singing my heart out. Like, I was terrified. The thought of singing in public just, I would have rather, you know, jumped off a cliff. So I decided to try, and it went fine, and each time got a bit easier and more fun, you know. And now I feel like the luckiest guy in the world, you know. I do something that I enjoy tremendously.
Mercury and starfish in the bay. A rusty ship sails away.
You've made, I think, 12 albums since you started Brazzaville. What's the difference between being on stage and being in the recording studio?
Yeah, I mean, I love both, recording and performing. They're completely different things. Recording is like cooking, kind of, you know, like you have to, you have the bare bones of a song, you know, and then you have to figure out how to bring the magic out of it in the studio. And it's different for every song, you know, there's no formula. And then performing live is like this ancient activity, this exchange of energy between performers and an audience that dates back, you know, maybe thousands of years of wandering musicians that stop and kind of tell stories and play music, and it's just, it's wonderful.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. This life at 30,000 feet, well, it's starting to take its toll.
What about the other members of the band who are performing here with you tonight?
Well, one of them is Kenny Lyon. He's my oldest friend, and he's the first member of Brazzaville after me. You know, when I got the idea to form the band, I called Kenny. Then I called him, I'm like, hey man, I want to start a band. Are you into it? And he said, yeah, sure, you know, let's do it. And then there's Robert Gibiaki. He's from Venezuela originally, but he lives in Barcelona where I live. He's just an amazing drummer, like one of the best drummers I've ever played with, and a really super cool person. And then the bass player tonight is a Turkish guy named Ferin Kaya, who is also just one of the coolest people ever and a great bass player.
I can't help noticing that your guitar looks pretty authentic and original. Can you tell us the story behind that?
Yeah, I mean, the guitar is, this guitar is just, you know, one of my best pals, if not my, you know, it's my constant companion. I never go anywhere without it. And I got it back in, God, I guess it was maybe 1999, I would say, or maybe 98, in Fukuoka, Japan. Back, I was playing saxophone with Beck, and we were in Japan on tour. And I was walking down the street with my wife, and suddenly, well, we walked by this doorway. It didn't even look like a shop. It was like an open door, kind of a house, but was like, it's weird. It looks like a kind of a junk shop, which I love, junk shops. So I said, hey, let's check it out. And there was this really old man, like 90-year-old man, Japanese man, that didn't speak any English. And I looked around, it's like tables and lamps. But then there were two guitars on the wall. And one of them was this one, and it had this weird face on it and these bizarre, like, kind of German crosses, and it said Ventures, you know. And it had just some rusty strings, and it was all dusty. And I said, hey, how much for the guitar? And it was the equivalent of like $30. And I said, I'll take it.
I got my beat up guitar in my pocket roll scales. I packed my indentation drops and on my speaker tapes. So now you're on the road.
And before we let you go, can I just ask you to perform a little bit of one of your new songs?
This is one of the new ones.